inevitably, whoever you are writing code for will dictate how you format code. So sometimes it makes sense, for example, if you use some form of pre-processing to extract code and definitions to create the documentations for the code. In many cases, this style that is imposed on you is the personal preference of someone else of you or you. So there are two broad formatting styles in C++, KNR and Allman. So in general, KNR places the opening brace of a code block on the same line of the last statement, as you can see here. Same line of last statement and same line of first statement, as you can see here. But uh, here, as you can see, this is the typically used in Unix operating systems, but there is an Allman style style is typically used in Windows Microsoft systems. So the Allman style, named after the developer Eric Allman, so places the opening brace on a new line. As you can see here, this is the new line. So the nested examples look nested example looks as follows here. This is the Allman style, and actually we will miss the else statement here, else, and the test is false, and here the second test is false, and this is the Allman style. So remember that your code is unlikely to be presented on a paper, so the fact that KNR is more compact will save no trees. If you have to choose, you should choose the style that is the most readable. The decision of so for it's my decision is that KNR is more readable, I think. But if you choose Allman, it's completely okay. So you can choose however you want. Just don't mix these two code styles, because the code will become the unreadable here. For example, if you mix the KNR and Allman, it's not okay. But it's syntaxically, and the compiler will compile it with no problem. So if you have multiple nested blocks, the intents can give an idea of which block the code resides in. However, comments can help too here. So in particular, if a code block has a large amount of code, it's often helpful to comment the reason for the code block. So, for example, if an if statement it is helpful to put the result of the test in the code block, so you know what the variable values are in that block. So it's also useful to put a comment on the closing brace of a test here. Let's write an example program here. Just an example one here. So let's create an if blocks here. If x, let's create the integer x equals 1. If x is greater than 0, you will learn about all of these if and else statements in next lectures. This is just an example, so just keep in mind. And here, then x greater than this, and here we will add the lots of codes here, and then lastly, if x less than 0, and let's add else statement 2, else here, then else x is greater than or equal to 0. If x not less than 0, then x is greater than or less than 0, so we just wrote it as comment, so it's just a comment, so it's for easy to understand in the next C++ programmers. So here lots of codes again, lots of codes, and then if here x is less than 0, just mentioning that this else is the if statement else, so there's nothing else. Here, if you put the test as a comment on a closing brace, it means that you have a search term that you can use to find a test that resulted in the code block. So the preceding lines make this comment redundant, but when you have the code blocks with the many tens of lines of code and with many levels of nesting, commenting like this can be very helpful. So for example, oh, I'm searching for my x less than 0 statement. Where is the statement? You just press the Control plus F here. So Control plus F here, and then x less than 0. As you can see here, our idea, or you can use just a text processing applications as well. If you just use this commenting type, you will get the your desired search result. In next lecture, we're going to learn about the writing statements. So I'm waiting you in next lecture.